Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are back in the basement because I just finished watching Clippers Nuggets and it's about 10:45 p.m. right now. So let's just say it's a little too dark to record outside. So I'm down here today and um we got to see two really great team performances tonight from the Nuggets and the Heat. Two teams that just have been playing great this entire playoff run, and it was super entertaining. And I'm going to start off by talking about the Nuggets because this is one of the most fun teams I can remember. Coming back from 3-1 deficit, two series in a row, and in both series they were down double digits in elimination games. Like, this team is just showing so much fight. It's so impressive to me. It all starts with Jamal Murray. That entire first half, I really thought, well, the Clippers are the better team. They're just going to pull away with this one. And when they went up 10, I was like, okay, it's happening. Like, dang, this Nuggets team had a fun run, but looks like it's going to come to a close. And then in that second quarter, Jamal Murray put them on his back. Like, that was so impressive. The way he was just able to carry his team, say, we're not going home tomorrow. We belong in this bubble. We want that chance to beat the Lakers, and he earned it for him. 40 points on 15 for 26 shooting, 6 for 13 from 3. What a night for Jamal Murray. They were talking about how he struggled in Game 7 last year against the Trailblazers. He had a really poor game against the Jazz in Game 7. It was really Joker that carried them against the Jazz in that Game 7. So to see him step it up and play like this was really, really incredible. And in the second half, the Clippers adjusted to the way that Murray was just shredding them in that pick and roll and isolation. In the pick and roll, they were doubling him right away. Like, Joker would come up and set a screen for him at like half court, and they would already be jumping in and getting him with that trap, that double. And at halftime, I texted my dad and I said, Clippers are going to make an adjustment to Murray. Joker's going to have a big second half. And he did, just not in the way I anticipated. I thought that he was going to get back into that pick and pop game where he was knocking down threes. And then once he played Zubats out of the game, he would just start posting up Montrez. And that just really didn't happen because his three-pointers weren't falling tonight. He was 0 for 4 from 3, but he was able to make an adjustment, and he realized, okay, they're trapping Jamal. I'm catching the ball in the high post. Somebody's got to guard me. I'm a top 8 player in the NBA. Somebody's got to take me. They're not just going to give me a easy floater, which is a shot I'm incredible at, or an easy layup, because I can use my big body to get great position. Somebody's going to help off. And his teammates did a great job recognizing it and putting themselves in position to knock down open threes. Jeremy Grant knocked down 2 big threes in the second half. Paul Millsap knocked down 2 big threes. Like, all 4 of those three-pointers by those 2 Nuggets forwards stand out to me, and Grant and Millsap, because they were just huge for changing the momentum of the game. And I put a lot of this win on those guys because those were huge shots. Jeremy Grant had a big game for the Nuggets. I think he had about 14 points, and he works so well off of Jokic and Murray because of his ability as a cutter and a guy that can kind of space the floor, and also as a great defender. Like, he's just a perfect supporting player for this team, and it's great that they were able to get him on their roster. A great trade for them in that OKC trade because he was a real difference maker in this game. Knocked down those 2 big shots, played great defense throughout. Paul Millsap has been that veteran presence for this team. Took them from being a bad team to a borderline playoff team to now a Western Conference Finals team. Last year they weren't quite there, but they were a game away from it, and now they're here, and they're ready for this Game 7. We also saw Torrey Craig and Gary Harris take advantage of the extra emphasis that was being put on guarding Murray and Jokic by making some magnificent back cuts Gary Harris had a big game. I think he piled up around 15 points for them. And if they're getting that kind of scoring from him, getting that kind of scoring from Grant, that's what makes this team so scary. I mentioned a text that I sent to my dad at halftime. I said, it's clear that Jokic and Murray can be the top two players on a championship team. The only question is this supporting cast ready? In that second half, if I'm the rest of the NBA watching that, I'm scared because they looked ready. And we didn't even see a good game from the other two really good offensive players on this team in Monte Morris as the backup guard and Michael Porter Jr. as obviously a very important wing to everything they do. Those two didn't have particularly good games, but this team was just able to put Kawhi and Paul George in difficult enough spots that they were not able to make them pay. Kudos to Jeremy Grant, kudos to Torrey Craig, kudos to Gary Harris. Those guys did a great job defending those two wings. Lou Williams also struggled. Yeah, I'm just so excited because this Nuggets team is really, really fun to watch. Jokic is a one-of-a-kind player in the NBA. There's no one else in the league like him. His ability as a passer, and he's been shooting the ball really well. He didn't shoot the ball well tonight, but he was able to make up for it with his great passing. I mean, look at this stat line. This stat line is something out of a video game. 16 points, 22 rebounds, and 13 assists. I mean, a 22 rebound, 13 assist game. Just incredible. And that's when Jokic is at his best, when he's passing the ball like this, because it just makes the team so much better. Obviously, when he's scoring, it's great too, but Murray is capable of taking on that scoring load. And Jokic is such a great passer. I'd say he's the best passer in the NBA. It's between him, LeBron, and Luka. Those are the top three passers, top three playmakers. And right now, I'd say I have to go with Jokic because of his just ability. I mean, that pass he made to Murray, I know it didn't matter, but that over the head, like just finding Jamal Murray on that back cut. He's so fun to watch, so special, and just so different from any other superstar in the NBA. Murray is just such a great pick and roll scorer, isolation scorer. He was still able to put up, I think, 15 points in that second half, despite the emphasis the Clippers were putting on guarding him. He was still able to get to his spots, and he hit some really tough shots. That one, I mean, he hit an absolute dagger with about 3 minutes left to make the lead go from 13 to 16. I mean, I thought the Nuggets had it, but that was really like, wow, the Clippers are going to lose. And oh boy, was I wrong about this Clippers team, because they've been my championship pick since the start of the season, and I stuck with it all the way through, even before today. So today, at school, somebody said, "Who do you think is going to win the finals?" I said, "The Clippers." Nope, they're going home. So a large part of it was Kawhi and Paul George struggled. I thought JaMychal Green gave them great minutes off the bench. Patrick Beverley was terrific. He played like Patrick Beverley does. Montrezl Harrell minutes were actually pretty good tonight. They were definitely not as terrible as they have been the rest of the series. The stars just struggled, and when your superstars struggle and the superstars on the other team combined for 56 points and 30 rebounds or whatever it was, like, you're not going to win. And an 89-point performance from the Clippers in an elimination game is absolutely pitiful. This team is obviously very disappointing, but I give most of the credit here to the Nuggets because this team played great. They played as a team. They got contributions from every player who entered the game for them, and I'm excited to see what they can do against the Lakers, quite frankly. I think tomorrow I'm going to make my preseason or my pre-series preview for that series, and I'm going to have to do some thinking about who I like and what matchups I like in that series, because this Nuggets team has something special going on, and they've got a real shot of knocking off those Lakers. I guess I should probably talk about that first game a little bit. It was pretty exciting also, the big overtime victory for Miami over Boston. Bam! That block. I got, like, Game 7, LeBron James, Andre Iguodala, the famous Mike Breen, blocked by James. That's the best defensive play I've ever seen, and this gave me similar feelings because game-saving blocks are just something. And this was Bam going up and just saying no to Tatum. Star against star, and Bam won out. I mean, what a play. What a play. Magic Johnson tweeted best defensive play he's ever seen in the playoffs or something like that, and I don't think he's far off. Obviously, the blocked by James would get my vote because it was in Game 7 and it won the game for them, but holy cow, that was a great block, great play by Bam. He finished with 18 points and 9 assists. It got to the line 11 times. Bam is a star. Bam is the third best player in this series. I thought it going in, and after that game, I'm even more ready to say it. I'd say it goes Jimmy, Tatum, Bam. And if Bam is outplaying Kemba and Jaylen Brown to the extent that he did tonight, Boston's in big trouble. And I picked Boston in 6, and I still think that Boston will win this series because I think that this point guard matchup is everything in this series. Today, Dragic had 29 points on 11 for 19 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3. And Kemba had 19 points on 6 for 19 shooting and 1 for 9 from 3. So obviously those two are polar opposites in terms of their effectiveness on the offensive end of the floor. But I think that's definitely going to even out and probably go in Boston's favor. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks that Goran Dragic is, in general, a better player than Kemba. He's obviously hotter than Kemba is right now, but if that evens out, that's where Boston has an advantage. Maybe it won't, though. I mean, Dragic has been incredible this entire playoffs, and he did it again tonight. 29 points, like I said. Outstanding effort. Jay Crowder was incredible again. This guy just keeps coming up with big games for this Miami Heat team. Today he had 22 points and 7 for 11 shooting and 5 for 9 from 3. Incredibly efficient. He's just a really, really good player. He's a championship DNA guy. He's going against the Celtics who traded him. So I'm sure when he considered that his home, him and Isaiah Thomas were traded for Kyrie, obviously. So this has got to be a revenge, the Jay Crowder revenge series. And today he got his first piece of revenge. Now he's just got part 2, part 3, and part 4. Jimmy Butler was incredible as usual. Knocked down that huge 3 in the fourth quarter. Hit a huge shot in the overtime. I think it ended up being the game winner pretty much. Finished with 20 points. He didn't have a particularly great game until the fourth quarter and overtime, but Jimmy Butler shows up when it counts. And when he counts, he's one of the best players in the world. He's one of the best fourth quarter players out there. He's one of the best closers. We saw it in his Philadelphia time with Philadelphia last year. We've seen it in the past. He's a great closer, and he just gives this team such a reliable option down the stretch. And another reliable option on the stretch is that rookie, Tyler Hero. I think I've talked about him a couple of times. In case you didn't know, I really, really like Tyler Hero, and I think he's going to be really, really, really good. But that shot that he hit, that off balance, probably a bad shot at the end of the fourth quarter where he just kind of threw it up, straight net. I mean, this guy's not afraid. Yeah, I've said it. He's the ballsiest rookie I've ever seen. I mean, that shot was just incredible. Yeah, he finished the game with 11 rebounds. Tyler Hero, 11 rebounds? Okay, pal. He must have been mad because I think before the game they announced he got all-rookie second team. He wanted that all-rookie first team. He also had 9 assists. I mean, he's going to be so good. So good. He played 40 minutes tonight. I mean, what kind of rookie? And he's guarding Kemba Walker on the defensive end of the floor. Obviously, Kemba was able to exploit him and get a few pretty nifty step-back mid-rangers, but he's stepping up to the challenge by taking these difficult shots, playing these big minutes, and taking this difficult defensive assignment. I'm so impressed with this guy, and I think he's going to be really, really good. I'll talk about Boston a little bit. I mean, Tatum is just proving himself to be a superstar every time I watch it. I thought that he should have been a little more aggressive in the first portion of the fourth quarter, where Miami kind of made their run and closed the gap. I think Boston was up by 12 at the end of the third. And then Miami made their run, and in that whole stretch, Jason Tatum just didn't have an answer, and that's where you need him to be a star. He finished with 30 points and 14 rebounds, so an incredible game from him, but it just didn't feel like he was able to make those momentum-changing plays. It felt like Jaylen Brown made those plays for Boston, and Jaylen didn't have a great game in general, but when they needed him, he knocked down that nice mid-range jumper in the fourth quarter that was big. He had a big tip in the overtime that gave them a chance. Him and Marcus Smart are the guys that make big plays for this team because Tatum just did not show up there. And Smart had a huge game with that. It was 26 points. I mean, when he's hitting shots, it's just another weapon. And I think when Gordon Hayward's back, this team is going to be so scary because at that point, can Spoelstra still close with Dragic and Hero? Like, he was hiding Dragic on Smart, and Hero was forced to guard Kemba. So when Gordon Hayward is back, where are you hiding those guys? Down the stretch. So I think that Gordon Hayward is a real game changer, and Boston needs him back because tonight it didn't look like they can win without him. I also want to talk about Kemba a little bit more. It felt like when they were trapping up at the top of the key, he was able to make some really nice decisions and was able to have some hockey assists and some nice passes. And so I think when he said he was playing terrible or whatever, he was being a little hard on himself. I think that he's playing all right. I mean, he's making good decisions. His defense isn't awful. He's giving effort on the defensive end of the floor, which is important, but he's just got to start hitting his shots, and that'll come. So I'm not too worried about Kemba. I'm not too worried about the Celtics in general. If I'm a Celtics fan, I'm not too worried after this game. Our second best player and our third best player didn't have great games, and we still took it to overtime. Now, I don't think this game should have gone to overtime because I don't think that the refs should have called that foul on Derrick Jones Jr. when he knocked over Marcus Smart on the screen. That was just ridiculous. Kemba pushed him into the screen, and then Marcus Smart flopped on top of that. So I thought that was an atrocious call, but that's another story for another day. But overall, two really fun games. I'm excited to see the Nuggets take on the Lakers on Friday. Excited for Game 2 of Boston-Miami on Thursday. I hope you all enjoyed. Love basketball. I love basketball. I say it all the time, but this sport is just incredible. It's so interesting to me, and yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, what your thoughts are on the Nuggets-Lakers series and this Boston-Miami series. Who do you think is going to win? And I will see you all again very soon.